Hi, Andrew here, and I feel better. I just posted, or just, pardon me, recorded a video ripping on the left wing pants pissers at Torstar and the Chronic Bitchers and the CBC getting all mad that Poilievre pushed and got the CBC accurately described as government-funded media. And that elevated my mood, laughing about that. It also elevated my energy, and I needed that. Because this isn't a point and laugh video. I know I love to make point and laugh videos. I do so because it does this. I'm in a much better mood now than I was before I made that particular video, because it's been a long and difficult week. I've talked about it. It started Thursday last week when I was practicing writing an origin story, where I'm from. How did I become who I am? And that triggered a flashback to one of my two worst depressions. Got me thinking about the depression that kicked it all off. There's a story in there. And because of that, I had a literal breakdown. I was non-functional for a half an hour while I stuffed the monster back in his cage. I stuffed the genie back in his bottle. I rammed the cork down, etc. But the reverberations from that were tough. Reverb is when the sound bounces off and comes back at you. Well, I was suffering that. The emotional reverberations were difficult and extremely stressful. In my year or two as a fitness blogger, one of the things I wrote about was stress and cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. When you undergo stressful situations, it builds up in your system and it kicks in. It's part of kicking in the fight, flight, or freeze reflex. Most people think flight or fight. There's also freeze. It's not as common in people. We tend to fight or flee, but look at rabbits, look at mice. If they don't run, they duck and cover. Small dogs cower, they freeze. But it's the same effect, it's the same source, the cortisol buildup. Over my lifetime, I have learned to actually literally feel the cortisol. I know when I'm getting stressed out. I know when the cortisol is building in my system. I can also feel it going away. And there are a number of excellent methods for getting rid of it, meditation being one. Prayer, for those of you who pray, is another one. Detaching and distancing yourself, getting out into nature, calming yourself down is another one. The one that I most frequently use and is most effective for me is hard exercise. And Friday I went for a run and I ran hard, but I was still in ketosis. I hadn't carved up, but the pressure, it just built up. I had to get out and run. And the first kilometer was a bit rough. I mean, I'm rusty. I'm not in the shape to run. The second kilometer was unpleasant, but I managed to maintain more or less a standard normal pace. But the last 500 meters, I only ran 2.5 clicks. That last half kilometer was hell on wheels. My heart rate spiked. My pace dropped 20%, but I burned out the cortisol. Now I got two problems. First is I've used a lot of energy in a way I haven't done it for a long time. So I'm going into delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, and DOMS is a harsh taskmistress. And I've still got the reverb. That cortisol being burned off leaves a void. And there's an emotional thing going on there. And I was drained. And it didn't stop there. this weekend was Kid 2's birthday. He's 13. I got two teenage boy appetites in the house. I'm so glad we're going through 15% food inflation while I'm trying to feed two teenage boys. Thanks a lot, all you lovely Western governments who shut us down and rammed inflation through the roof. I'm so happy. But I had to get through that. And there's the joy of watching my wonderful second boy growing up. But there's the, oh my God, that tiny little guy. He was this big. He's a friggin' teenager. He's bigger than his mother. And Tuesday was my annual review. Stressful in and of itself. I was exhausted. How exhausted? I think I slept 9 hours 2 or 3 nights running. I'm coming out of it. Eating, exercising, maintaining my sleep, getting the emotions back to even keel. But holy crap, was it tiring. Severe mental health problems are exhausting. So my recommendation to you is don't have them. For me, that ship sailed back in the early 80s. But if you can find a way to not have them, I strongly recommend don't go through this shit. It sucks. But at least I can laugh about it now. Because I sure as shit wasn't laughing about it Thursday last week or last November, or whenever. Anyway, thanks for watching. That was my time. Now is your time. And in the meantime, take care. And you'll see me soon.